Sergeant, we are, do we have quorum? No, we don't have quorum yet. Where is the whip?
Herself needs whipping. But he said,
You bring in the nominee. Good afternoon. Take your seat. For the record, you are Honorable Justin Bedan Joka Muturi, EGH.
Correct, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable members, this is our second last nominee in this band, and the second last for today as well. Honorable Muturi, welcome to this committee. You are no doubt on familiar ground. This is a committee on appointments to engage you to assess your suitability for the office to which His Excellency the President has nominated you as Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Performance and Delivery Management. Honorable members, before we do anything, I'll declare my interest. The nominee was my classmate, was my roommate at the University of Nairobi. And Posing, you better understand, the University of Nairobi, not Nairobi University.
The University of Nairobi.
Yes.
Alumni.
That will not in any way prejudice my ability to chair this committee, to vet my classmate, roommate, and friend. I have not said this of any other nominee, because this is the only nominee I have that relationship with. Honorable nominee Muturi, you will take an oath. You have sat where I'm sitting before. You are of the faith, either Bible, is it called Gita or Quran? Which one? Bible. So be upstanding, take the Bible in your right hand and recite the oath.
I, Justin Bedan Joka Muturi, swear that the evidence I shall give before this committee on the matter under its consideration shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Thank you. You may sit and sign to the oath. Although you are Speaker Emeritus, for purposes of these proceedings, you will be referred to as nominee. Nominee, we want to start by, for the record, introductions. I'm the Speaker of the National Assembly, Chairman of this committee. On my right is my deputy, the Deputy Speaker, Gladys Boss. On my left is Sarah Kyoko, our Deputy Clerk. I'll invite all members to introduce themselves for the record.
Naisula Lesuda, MP Samburu West.
Kimani Shogo. Junet Mohammed.
The two speakers, Nelson Koech.
Kosi.
Karia David.
Mary.
Mase Mary, Teso South.
Abdul Rahim Daud, North Imenti Meru.
George Gitonga Murugara, Member Tharaka.
Owen Bayer, Member Kilifi North.
Robert Mbui, MP Kadhiani.
Stephen Mule, MP Matungulu.
Dido Raso, MP Saku.
Abdi Shurie, Balambala.
Rehab Mukami, Nyeri.
Caleb Mrs. Sabuti.
We'll start in earnest. Before we ask you any questions, if you have your documents, give them to the sergeant to pass on to the clerk to verify the same. I'll ask you to introduce yourself, even as we know you, your name, your educational background, your work experience, and your key competences that make you suitable for appointment as Cabinet Secretary. In less than 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and honorable members. My name is Justin Muturi, Cabinet nominee for the docket of Public Service and Human Capital Management, according to the letter that I received. My education background, I may start by saying that I went through local primary schools in the village where I was born in Embu. Left the village, went to Kangaroo School, and for 6 years, and thereafter to the University of Nairobi, where after completion, I joined the Kenya School of Law for a diploma in law. Straight from the School of Law, I was employed as a magistrate, and I served in various parts, including but not limited to Bungoma, and all the courts within Bungoma and Busia, then districts, now counties. Moved to Kiambu in Githunguri and Thika, moving on to Machakos, and finally in Nairobi, where after a period spanning about slightly over 15 years, I resigned to go to venture into politics. At my first attempt in 1997, I did not succeed, but soon thereafter, the vacancy fell, the seat fell vacant through death, and I was elected as Member of Parliament for Siakago constituency, as it then was known, after which I joined Parliament, and in 2002, December, I successfully defended my seat and returned back to Parliament, where I served as opposition chief whip then, because the party on which I had been elected and been trounced very badly in the 2002 general elections, and we became the opposition. While in Bunge at that time, I was also elected by my colleagues to chair the Public Investments Committee, where some of the people who served me, I can see are to the left of Mr. Speaker, Chairman, and a few other officers. Mr. Chairman, in 2007, I lost the parliamentary seat, and I was out of parliament for 5 years, during which period I was deeply engaged in the constitutional review programs that were there. And I was finally elected as to chair the Center for Multi-Party Democracy. After that, Mr. Chairman, in 2013, after the general elections, I was elected the Speaker of the National Assembly, a position I held for 2 terms. In the elections of 2022, Mr. Chairman, I did not run for any office, but I joined through a coalition partnership agreement with the teams that formed Kenya Kwanza, initially being the United Democratic Alliance Party, Ford Kenya, and ANC as leader of the Democratic Party. Subsequently, His Excellency the President appointed me through a nomination that was approved by this House, by this committee, recommended for approval by this committee to the House, subsequent to which His Excellency the President appointed me as the Attorney General, the 8th Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya. I served in that position for a period of 20 months and 15 days, up to the 11th of July 2022, when I tendered my resignation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and honorable members.
Thank you. Deputy Speaker, any question?
No questions. No questions for my senior. Thank you.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. CS nominee, there is a government internship program under the Ministry of Public Service, and many of us have messages from Kenyans, especially young Kenyans who have gone through the internship program, asking what is the plan of onboarding them as permanent staff in government, or linking them with other state agencies, for permanent and pensionable jobs. And we'd want to hear what plans you have, should you be confirmed into that docket, to make sure that that internship program not only helps the youth to gain experience, but also helps them to get linked to actual permanent and pensionable jobs.
Nominee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Leader Majority, for that question. Indeed, I want to confirm to this committee and to Kenyans that I have also received well over close to 300 such messages from those interns, the young Kenyans who have gone through that program, which was initiated, I believe, with the very best of intentions. But unfortunately, I think the implementation has faced some challenges, because young Kenyans have been taken through the program, posted into ministries, but after 1 year, they find themselves back on the streets. Indeed, it is a very challenging thing. Mr. Chairman, my personal view about this program of internship, before I come to say what I think should be done, is that it should be changed to not just a Public Service Commission internship program. It should actually be a Kenya national internship program, where both government and the private sector become active players. I believe it would have been much better if the program and involve the private sector, because the skills that these young Kenyans have are variant. They're not necessarily trained to go and work in the public service. Because sometimes you may find a university graduate that has been trained in agriculture, for instance, being taken to the Ministry of ICT. They will just be there for those 12 months and the stipends that they are given. After 12 months, those kids have really gained very little in terms of the field that they were trained in by way of experience. So, Mr. Chairman, my view is that this program should be worked, reworked, re-engineered, so that the people, the young Kenyans that are taken into it, are taken including the private sector, where indeed the private sector would be encouraged. Either government of Kenya, because Parliament gave the resources to the Public Service Commission to employ those or to engage those interns. But if we expanded it, it means that either the government of Kenya would have young Kenyan interns being taken to various places in industry, both in the public sector and in the private sector, where their skills would be much more relevant and would be much more useful. And thereafter, either it can be agreed that government will pay for continue paying their stipends, or in the alternative, those private sector players to whom the interns would be attached would be given some incentives. And indeed, perhaps if we did that, we could find that we could actually attract more Kenyan youth in the internship program than the current numbers that we take today. Moving forward, Mr. Chairman, I think it's not right to assume that governments can employ every Kenyan that has gone through school. But on the other hand, government has a responsibility. We all have a responsibility in leadership to ensure that we grow the economy of this country so as to be able to attract as many of our young, talented Kenyans into the job market. Therefore, Mr. Chairman, this is a program that I intend to, if I find favor, as Mr. Chairman, you have, I've heard you say from time to time, you have found favor with this committee and the House, and get confirmed into this position through appointment. It is something that we will need to sit with the Public Service Commission, because as you would appreciate, the role of the ministry is to facilitate. And here, Mr. Chairman, it's good for me to point out that public service spans across every arm, so that indeed, Mr. Chairman, even the policeman on the road is the public service. The doctors and the health personnel are also doing public service. So it's a ministry that I find quite interesting. It permeates every sector of the public service. But more specifically, to respond to the issue raised by the Leader of Majority, which has also been raised with me, as I said at the beginning, it is to sit with the Public Service Commission and see how best to address the plight of the various cohorts, because very few, Mr. Chairman, have been absorbed in the public service. And these are our children. We all must feel for them. We see how best to have them placed in well-paying jobs and remove them from the streets. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Yes, Mary.
Thank you, Chairman. Nominee, Kenyans, with respect to the same issue of internship, Kenyans want to know the fact that the outgoing CS did suspend ongoing and any new recruitment. If you are approved, what you're going to do about that. He had proposed a formation of a tripartite committee to look into all those issues. And they are also saying the public servants, the aging, the public service is an aged lot. And so in the interest of succession planning, what are you going to do if at all you are suspending recruitment? And finally, they are also saying they're raising the concerns on corruption and nepotism, where jobs at the public service are also going to the highest bidder or to whom you know. So if you are approved, what are you going to do about it? So kindly speak to those issues, and you'll be, so that we do not bring up the issue again. Thank you.
Chairman, this is just a supplementary question. I hope I don't lose my slot later, because I'm very interested in this. We're going to third reading of a bill I have sponsored on the public service internship. And I agree with you what you have said. We actually consulted a lot on the private sector, but we realized it needs further engagement on issues to do with private sector, because incentives and all that. But now, the direct question that the young people are asking, and they have told me, without that amendment in your bill, in the third reading, but then you can stay with your bill. They are saying there has to be provision of them gaining full employment after the internship, because they're saying otherwise, if that is not there, the government and other entities are just enjoying cheap labor, and then they go back, as you have said, after 1 year. And so it is good to be honest, because I know later you'll be told it's budgetary issues. You can commit here and then later you say there's no money. So the young people just want an honest answer, whether they will be employed after their internship. And the last thing just on that, Chairman, is that the last question, I agree with you also on one thing. Public Service Commission, and we engaged during the public participation. Internship is not a preserve of the Public Service Commission. The Parliamentary Service Commission also takes interns, the Judicial Service Commission, other commissions in TAC, which actually has a good practice where they have a merit list. So instead of advertising again for new people to get full employment, why don't we have a database of the ones who've done internship, and they be given priority when it is time for employment, and they create space for others to get internship?
Mr. Chairman, can I? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And through you, Mr. Chairman, I want to respond to the issues raised by the member for Teso South, the Honorable Mary Amase, where she raised the issue of a circular. And let me first of all say that I haven't come across any such circular. It was a pronouncement which I think has not been secularized. The issue that I'm aware of is that, of course, which every one of us is aware, is the issue of the austerity measures being implemented currently, which have necessitated some temporary or sort of a moratorium on recruitment. It is not that it has been stopped. So it is not. I don't think that it's right for us to say that there's been a circular. There hasn't been any, because I've gone through. It's an issue that I was addressing when I met with the senior staff of the ministry. Mr. Chairman, the issue of aging staff is true, and this also speaks to the question of succession planning. And I think it is right to point to say that something somewhere has gone wrong within the HR department, the human resource area, because it is true, Mr. Chairman, you find, I don't know members, you find that some very, very senior people in the public service, the people that deputize, and they are almost exiting the service, but the people deputizing them are so lowly placed. I think that is a mistake that must be corrected immediately.